And welcome back to the One Shot What If for Friday. And that is from Universal Mistake, who asked the question, what if Dragon Balls actually didn't grant wishes? And it's the crux of the series, and it's a legit question. What happens when you take the one thing the Dragon Balls are good for out of the equation? First off, why would the Dragon Balls even exist at that point? Well, I think the Dragon Balls would exist. It's just like symbolism, like beautiful things to inspire hope, probably very valuable, all that. Indestructible, we know they are indestructible, or at least unbreakable, or very hard to destroy. Because when King Piccolo destroyed them, he didn't destroy them, he destroyed Shenron, which caused them to go. But Kami just creates them as like this thing of hope or whatever. But the idea that they can, but lore and stuff and mythos can go on all the time, so. Happen all the time. So the idea they could grant wishes still exists. So what happens in the story? Well, basically we have to start off with where the first wish in the entire series came from, and that's where Pilaf tries to take over the world. And so he wishes for the world, but they stop and say, world's most comfortable pair of underwear! But either way, the dragon never shows up. In fact, maybe honestly, that could be the thing. The dragon still shows up, and he just gives him, like, some advice or something like that. He doesn't give a wish. He just gives, like, some cardinal rules of wisdom or whatever. That could be it. And so they don't grant wishes. What? You mean you don't grant wishes? I do not. I will grant one thing of advice. Okay, how do I conquer how do I get the world's most comfortable pair of underwear? It's like, go to a salon. I can see that being a great little, like, crux. So, because they don't grant wishes now, that's a huge thing. And by the way, I'm not saying Shenron granting advice could help in any way, shape, or form, actually. It's just, I'm doing that as a joke. So, okay, that's the first time Dragon Balls come into play. Then there's the Red Ribbon Army, they can't remember the name of the Indian kid's name, sadly, the Native American kid, but can't bring his father back now. So that's something that happens. Goku still beats the Mercenary Tao, all that. So nothing drastic has changed yet. It's around the King Piccolo arc that things go sour fast. Roshi, Chaozu, Krillin, all dead. They ain't coming back. Now, Goku is able to eventually beat Piccolo, certainly. But unfortunately, they just can't bring the Dragon Balls. They can't use Dragon Balls to bring them back. So, yeah, those guys stay dead. Tien's still around. I believe Tien did live, so Tien is still around. And with them dead, this is where there would be a change, admittedly. Like, Goku, I think, trains harder, so does Tien. So when the tournament comes around next time, Goku is overall stronger than Piccolo Jr. I'm not going to throw major power levels out here right now, because it's very quickly not going to matter. So Tien's a lot stronger. In fact, Tien, I'd argue, is maybe are almost close to where Goku and Piccolo were. And so Goku, I think, is still all jovial. He's still friendly, but he also has a bit of harshness to him, having lost his friends and all that, his master, whatnot. Granted, I think, like, Krillin could be training in the other world. We'll never see him again unless Whis decides to bring him back or Baba does it. Even then, we know it's only for a day. So Goku ultimately beats Piccolo pretty soundly. And so, yeah, now we just cut over to, like, the years later. Goku still trains. Raditz comes by. Raditz shows up. Now, Raditz, I think... no, there is no Krillin or Roshi. I think Krillin is living on Roshi's island. Like, it's kind of like passed on to him. Goku, I think, power-wise, is a lot stronger, but not by a huge amount. He's probably around 600, which is still very significant. Like I said, he was stronger when he trained than he was when he trained originally with Kami, and I think he'd be stronger here still. Tien, like, also is pretty much the second strongest on the planet. Well, third strongest. Piccolo's definitely got to catch up. And Piccolo's probably around 500. Rad shows up, causes problems, steals Gohan. The fight goes a little bit more in their favor, but they ultimately still lose. And Goku has to sacrifice himself. Now, here's another problem. Goku can't get brought back now. And now, granted, there is actually no reason for Nappa and Vegeta to head over to Earth here, because they haven't heard anything about Dragon Balls that can bring people back. But they might slid over to Earth just to try and see see what happened with Raditz, see if there's anything on this planet worth doing anything about. And so the Saiyans start coming. Piccolo takes go on. They train. Piccolo would get his around 8 times the multiplier, which admittedly would put him. I had him at 500. I had about 4,500, roughly speaking. So that does put him above Nappa at least. And everyone else, the few people who are there still, basically Yamcha, Yajirobe, and Tien, are still training. And they're training because there's only 2 of them. I think there's an intense amount of training between those two. Because they have to really push themselves hard. Honestly, doubling doubling what they are in the canon is not out of the realm of possibility. I'd say it's pretty reasonable, actually. So that would put Tien, roughly speaking, close to 3,800, and Yamcha close to about 2,900. So, and then they meet up for the Saiyans. Sadly, Goku can't do anything, but it's like, well, there's one thing we can do. It's like, or Kami says, there's one thing we're going to arrange something with Baba for a day. It's like, all right, cool. And so Goku would be hot into training for as long as he has to be. Goku would still get his train. He would and he would still end up probably going back to Kikai and continue to train for as long as he can until he goes to the other world. But that would still at least allow Goku to come into the fray for at least the Saiyan fight. Now this would, because I put him at 600, drastically bump his power up too, because Goku I think his motivation is a lot stronger here. I think instead of the 20, we're looking at maybe 30 times multiplier, which would put him, very nicely at Vegeta's full power, plus full Kaioken. He at least can do a Kaioken times 3 without detriment to his body at this point. And probably bump all of his, Kaioken limitations up by a full notch. So he shows up on the battlefield. I think he shows up. King Kai's like, I forgot to factor in the time frame. So but Goku's a lot faster. He gets there quicker. Baba gets him, and Goku shows up on the battlefield. Great, woo. Baba, and to be fair, Krillin. I think Krillin has also been training in the other world this entire time. Granted, he doesn't age because they're dead, so it's still Kid Krillin. But he's still, he's still there. He's still. I think Goku even got to meet his buddy, and they reconnected. Krillin wants to come and fight too, but Goku would obviously see, even though he's been training for years, he's still a kid. He can't really. I think the problem with kids versus adults is even if they die, they and this is weird to say, and I'm talking about in the context of Dragon Balls. I'm sorry, there's a fly in here. I want to see if I can get him. Nope, didn't get him. Oh well. I can actually get flies pretty well sometimes. Normally I just use 2 books and go, I can move faster that way, and more area to squish them with. But I think it's because Goku put it best in GT, where it's like, it's too much. My body can't take it. My older body was more developed. It could handle the strain. I think that's like the Krillin will always grow stronger as he trains, but I think that's a cap off limitation for his body. So he can only grow so strong so quickly. Still though, he's probably very powerful. He's easily probably in the thousands at this point. Easy. He's probably maybe even around 8,000. But Goku quickly overtakes it because he's got an adult body. So, Krillin, the gang is doing their best to hold off the Saiyans. Nappa's even struggling with Piccolo, with Tien, and Piccolo and him actually are teaming up, but he powers up all the way, starts to overwhelm them, and he's about to kill Piccolo, but that's when Goku is able to show up and completely decimate him. 18,000 power level? Oh, hell no. And him and Vegeta go toe-to-toe, they're even. Finally, Goku is, he goes the Gallic Gun, Goku does the Kamehameha, and they're pretty even. Goku does attacks on the Kaioken, though, and quickly overwhelms him. And then he decided, you got rid of the moon, but we can create false moons, turns into the Great Ape. Goku's like, oh god, and goes full Kaioken times 5, which is harsh on his body, but on the upside, he's at least half as strong as as Vegeta is struggles, but ultimately because he's at 90,000, he's at a small target. He's able to basically take the tail off and finally keep Vegeta down. And so unlike and Goku knows he's not going to be able to come back here anymore. So I actually think this is one of those scenarios where Goku actually isn't going to hesitate to kill some. Well, he doesn't want to kill Vegeta if he doesn't have to, but he's going to do it. And I think he actually does waste Vegeta. And so he goes, spends some time with Chi-Chi and his family, all that, enjoys their company before it's time for him to go, and yeah, he goes back to the other world. Now, this is where the story takes a very sad turn, because without Dragon Balls to bring people back, Frieza thinks, oh, I can use the Dragon Balls to get immortality on Namek. These don't work. They're symbolic. Of what? Of our faith. So basically, Namek's gone. Really, there's no... Now, Trunks' timeline still technically exists. This is the harsh thing here. Is Trunks going to show up at all? Because, I mean, we know that multiverse is a bitch. And in the actual Dragon Ball, like, their universes aren't tied together. But it's supposed to, in theory, follow the same history. So for this scenario, we'll say that there is no Trunks. But because there's no Trunks, there's also no Frieza showing up. I think Frieza just doesn't give a shit about Earth. Oh, excuse me. So he's doing his own thing. Eventually, the androids show up. It is 17 and 18 because there is no Gero in this, because Trunks never showed up. There's no Trunks. So it's just 18 and 17. And Gero basically is taking out sweet revenge on the world. The androids can't... The Z Fighters are screwed. They're absolutely screwed. Strongest one's Piccolo, and he can't do jack against these guys. Even if he fused with Kami, he'd be... If the androids are here, and he's all the way down here, if he fused with Kami, he might go, like, there. He just can't do anything. Which leads to the death of Kami, which leads to the loss of the Dragon Balls. And yeah, eventually now Cell wakes up, drinks up the androids, and turns into perfect Cell, blows up the planet, goes about his own way. And yeah, eventually he would probably run into Frieza or King Cold, waste both of them because his powers far exceeds either of theirs. And really, he just go about his way, just doing what he wants, up until Beerus decides to wake up, being like, wait, I heard a vision about a Super Saiyan God. I'm afraid there are no Saiyans, Lord Beerus. Wait, what do you mean? Well, all the Saiyans are dead. Except for this one on planet, Vampa. And that would be the thing. I think this would actually lead to Cell eventually finding Broly, on Vampa. And we know for a fact Broly could go toe-to-toe with base Super Saiyan. Even before he got the Ikari from Super Saiyan, Vegeta, and Goku, who had been enhanced by God Ki, which means Cell's in for a very rude awakening against Broly. So, one thing leads to another. He finds it, please, Cell is like, oh, sorry, I'm just here to execute the plan, see if there's anything worthy to fight before I blow it up. Blow it up? Oh, yes, sorry, I have no interest in really helping anyone. Just how I rule. Anyway, and you seem to be annoying me, so goodbye. Broly! And Broly just comes in, just, oh, he's just got the figure. I see. Well, unfortunately, you're in the splash zone, and just blows up in Broly's face, but Broly's powers, like, he's hurt, but he's like, just comes in and just starts to beat the ever-loving crap out of Cell. I did not see this coming! And just splits a smackdown on him, eventually leading to a final fight clash between the two of them. Broly actually goes into Ikari, which completely overwhelms Cell, and he can't do anything, and just kills Cell. So, Beerus wakes up, finds Broly, looks for a good match, and gets it out of him. Honestly, it's still not known if Broly actually is stronger than Beerus or not. Goku implies he might be, but we'll never know, probably. I think the ultimate thing is that the writers kind of make Beerus this like big wall that they're not they don't want Goku to be able to overcome, because it gives someone it always makes someone stronger out there than Goku, and gives Goku a wall to climb over. So so I think Broly is also in that realm where it's like Beerus is a wall that he can't climb over, at least not immediately. But it doesn't really matter because Zeno ultimately decides. Well, Zamasu does his thing in his timeline. Great. Well, actually, he doesn't even. Like the only thing there's no tournament. Like Zamasu, I think just he mellows out, but still hates mortals. Um, so he doesn't do his thing. And then eventually Zeno just comes and decides to wipe out the universes because we know he was going to do that regardless. So yeah. Without the Dragon Balls, the crux of the and yeah, Zamasu can't even do his thing because the Super Dragon Balls don't even exist in a way that actually work. So so yeah, if without the Dragon Balls are kind of the crux of the entire series. So yeah. Yeah, without Dragon Balls, the entire series is kind of effed. But it's just my opinion. Maybe you think without the Dragon Balls, the series could still work. Anything's possible. Let me know in the comments below if you think that. And if you do, cool. How do you think that would work? But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.